Believe it or not, this is actually one of my favorite questions and it's totally valid. I like to give this example. Have you ever helped somebody move anything? It sucks, right? I don't care how fit you are, it's still annoying to move stuff. When you pick up that equipment or whatever it is, hopefully it's not like those OG TVs from the 80s with like the big bag, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We're doing a bicep curl, a concentric contraction to bring it up, but then when we're moving that big TV or couch across the living room and outside the apartment or house, what are we doing? We're doing an isometric hold, yielding isometrics. The answer is yes, but let's get into why. Firstly, by definition, isometric strength is functional strength. Think about everyday tasks. Many of them involve isometric strength. For instance, when we come back from the store, loaded with grocery bags, it's not the initial lift that's the hardest part. It's holding those bags and walking them to your house. Your arm or fingers might start to fatigue as they maintain the static hold. Another scenario is helping someone move a heavy piece of furniture like we had mentioned. We lift it up, dynamic movement, but then we have to hold it while maneuvering it to its destination isometric. The challenging part is the isometric contraction needed to maintain that hold. Let's use an example from Paul Wade's isometric manual. Imagine we're holding a heavy object on a high shelf. The dynamic lift is quick, but holding it in place while adjusting and maneuvering requires significant isometric strength. It's this static hold that truly tests your muscles. Even in weightlifting, there are moments of isometric strength, like during a deadlift, when the initial lift is dynamic, but holding the weight at the top requires isometric strength. This principle applies to many lifting and everyday scenarios. By its very nature, isometric strength is functional. It's absolutely critical for tasks that require holding positions under tension, like carrying groceries, lifting furniture, or even performing certain exercises. You could even consider gardening. Squatting down and staying in that squat position, watering your plants, that's isometrics. While dynamic strength is essential for movement, isometric strength is critical for maintaining positions and stabilizing loads. We need both dynamic and isometric strength for overall fitness. Dynamic strength allows us to lift and move objects, while isometric strength helps us hold and stabilize them. For example, we need dynamic strength to lift that fridge, like we were talking about earlier, off the ground, and isometric strength to hold it while moving. So how can we use an isomax or any variant of OI to enhance functional strength? Here are a few tips. When we're talking about bicep curls, when we set the isomax for time mode and hold the bicep curl position for 20 to 45 seconds, that's building muscular endurance. You are training for that exact scenario. Then we have our tried and true 6x6 method to increase raw strength and dabble a little bit into the realm of hypertrophy. Lastly, we have our muscular endurance for tasks requiring prolonged holds focused on longer duration contractions to build that muscular endurance. One really neat example that I always like to bring up is retired UFC fighter Khabib Nurmagomedov. He was one of my favorite fighters to watch. If you noticed, he knew how to strike. Of course, he was a fantastic striker, but what was his area of expertise? Holding his opponents down. That's right, grappling. He was an 11 out of 10 in that. I can't prove that he was involved in any type of isometric training. A lot of grappling is isometric in nature. In fact, I made an entire isometric program on how to improve your grappling using isometrics. Here's a link to that video here, and we'll see you there.